It's Anywhere the Needle Drops bonus episode. We are here on our off week to give you another one of our classic Anywhere the Needle Drop episodes. This one's probably like 10 years old. This is from my original interview with Lindsay Lou, and we're dropping this one because, well, first of all, Lindsay was back on the show a month or so ago. And then, of course, last week you heard from the Accidentals, and, the Accidentals and Lindsay Lou, they know each other. They're all a part of the Michigan music scene. They've all shifted down to that Nashville scene, doing that thing, and so it seemed fitting right now to dig into the archives and bring you this chat, my original hangout with Lindsay Lou. Enjoy.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good. All right.
And you guys are in Nashville now, right? Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right, cool. How's the new CD going, touring with that?
Yeah, we've been touring heavily on it, and it's been very well received. The best part about it, in my experience, has been hearing from other musicians, our friends that speak so highly of it. That's like a really meaningful compliment to get it from somebody who is in the same boat, because that they're listening in the same way you do.
Sure.
And
yeah.
you know how critical you are.
Yeah.
So it's been great. Yeah.
How do you do that when, as creative people, I certainly know, you're doing something, and, it's, we have that issue sort of letting it go and putting it out into the world. So how do you know when it's ready to go? How do you know this album is ready to be released?
Well, it was actually sort of a matter of circumstance. The most outright motivation was that we had this tour in Germany that we knew we were going to do, and we wanted to have a record the first time we go to this country that's us. It's the four of us. We've been playing together as this four-piece for a year.
Yeah.
Lindsay and the Flatbellies has been, a band for 4 or 5 years or something.
Yeah.
But, the last 3 years have been full-time touring, and the last 2 years were with PJ. But we didn't have a record that had PJ on it who was playing bass with us.
Sure.
So we've, we've played music in this house that Josh and I were staying in temporarily in Ionia, Michigan.
Sure.
And we'd be on our, we were only home like 2 or 3 days a month, but when we're at home, a lot of times PJ would be there too, and we'd be playing music in this dining room. We didn't have very much furniture, or hardly any, because it was temporary. So the space is all open, and it just sounds so beautiful. So we would play music through the night, and one night he said, "This is where we should make our record." We'd done it in the studios and in isolation booths and everything.
Sure, yeah.
But we wanted to, it fit both. It fit so many things that we wanted. One was that we wanted to capture really just us. There's the gamut of philosophies on recording a record are extensive.
Yeah. And often contradictory.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But contradictory because you can't have them both at the same time. But that's not to say that you aren't open to all the different ways.
Sure.
I think it's sweet to produce something and to make a record a creative effort, like the Beatles records. It's like that was the art project.
Yeah.
And I think I would like to do that too. But for this record, what we wanted for this ensemble and where we're at and what we're doing, we wanted a record that was really just us, exactly as we are. And we wanted it to, capture the sound that we've created together. And so I think we did that. We did it in 4 days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We did everything live. And we had the songs prepared. We tour so much. I was just talking to someone about this. We're kind of strange in that we started by touring. That's how we started our musical career.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of bands will make a record and they'll, maybe play a little bit. Yeah. But it's we just went sort of pedal to the metal and started booking shows. And, and we've been doing it for so long, and we play together so much, so many times, so many nights in a row. We spend our whole lives together, way more than any normal people spend time together.
Yeah, sure.
We're together all the time. So we're like this family in this way of communication that's so deep that when we're playing music together, it's like that seeps in.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's all sorts of communication that's happening, and I was talking to the Crane Wives and sort of communing on this idea that when you're playing a song, you're trying to nail it, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to nail the song. It's like that. This is the case when it's a new song or a song you're not used to or something like that. That's like your objective.
Yeah.
But you can have the objective of, like, that isn't necessarily, or once you've nailed
You
it.
seen Josh?
Josh was, I think, up by the moon. I don't know. I really don't know.
Killer.
Thanks. But we're doing a little interview here.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
Totally
No.
cool. No, it's totally fine. But I'll probably finish this up, and then I'm totally gonna hang out with you guys. What are you guys doing?
I don't know.
Kalamazoo.
Oh, okay. We're staying in a hotel somewhere here.
You guys are really good.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
My brother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So once you feel like you're not trying to nail it because you've done it so many times, it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Then you're trying to do other things. You're trying to be creative. You're trying to, like, be expressive. You're trying to think about more than just like getting it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you've learned sort of the rules of it, and now you're free to sort of, you know, break the rules as, you know, or style off from that, you know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So, you know, we were able on tour to work up songs and start playing them, you know, on the road, and we got enough songs worked up that we knew we had a record. And we had like few songs that were carried over from the previous bass player that like still we do in this ensemble.
Yeah.
And we've, you know, they've definitely changed and grown a lot since then. But we had some of those, and we had some songs that we had worked up on the road, and then I had a brand new song. We had a couple brand new songs that we hadn't played at all. Everything changed. I had finished writing it like the week before.
Oh, wow,
We went
okay.
into the studio, or like like a couple days before. And so that was good, and that's kind of how I felt good about that compilation of types of songs, because then you've got like, it's like a set list. You've got your things you're really confident with, your things that are gonna like keep you creative and interested, and you've got, you know, all the other things that are kind of in the middle, you know?
Yeah.
So you don't ever if you get too frustrated by the new thing, you can like do the thing that you know how to do really well next.
Where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So it just felt, you know, I guess for all of those reasons, it just felt like all of the stars aligned to make it come to fruition.
Nice. So when you guys hit the road at the beginning as this, you know, touring band, you know, starting right off the bat, how many songs did you have ready to go at that point?
Well, when you play bluegrass music, you kind of have almost infinite number of songs.
Well, sure, yeah.
And so, you know, in the beginning we did a fair number of those types of songs, and then original songs. And, you know, the Flatbellies made a record and played shows around Michigan. But then when I got together with them, we basically, I put out a record and we were playing shows around Michigan. And then in 2011, we started touring with Mark.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
I mean, so that's all fairly recent, really.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Because you guys, I mean, you're a cohesive unit up there, you know? It's, I mean, there's a bond you can, I remember when I first saw you at the show at the Hanson Theater in Benton Harbor. Mm-hmm. And there's just that, I mean, that was a tiny room, and I just remember just like, you could just like sense the familial thing going on there. I mean, you guys were the most appropriate band for that living room series, as they called it, you know?
Totally.
I mean, yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So do you guys then, or you know, when you were, you know, hitting the road touring, or now as you've evolved, do you keep a writing routine, or I mean, is it just sort of like the muse hits, hey guys, let's do this? Like, how does that work for you guys?
Well, my writing has evolved a lot as my lifestyle has evolved.
Yeah.
You know, I used to be a college student, and then I worked you know, for the work day.
Sure.
And then my writing style was, you know, at lunch break or something, I would go out and I would write and I would start a song, or I would be home at night and spit out a whole song top to bottom.
Yeah.
And now it's like I have these little ideas and I record the little ideas. And sometimes it could be a melody, sometimes it could be a melody and a lyric, sometimes it could just be like a concept. Like I want to write a song about this concept, you know?
Yeah.
And then I just record, I make some record of that so I can go back to it
Sure.
when I do have time, or when I'm like looking for something, or when I have something that seems like I need something else. So I have all these pieces I can put together
Yeah.
when
it's
I need to.
The bits and pieces floating
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
Recently, I've had the, you know, honor of working with this kid in Nashville. He plays jazz mandola and mandolin, and he's, you know, he's like a prodigy style playing. It's so clean and good and technical. And he moved to Nashville, I don't know when, but, you know, within the recent history. And he asked me, we played a festival together in Colorado, and he sent me a message and asked if I would co-write a song with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, sure, and send me what he had. So he sent me this mandolin, you know, just him playing the mandolin for 3.5 minutes.
Sure.
And he said, so he broke it down, and he's like, there's basically 4 parts, and I want lyrics on the first 2 parts, lyrics or a melody. I could have just said ooze the whole time, you know?
Yeah.
Over those 2 parts, and on the B part, I want it to be sort of like Miles Davis sustained. So he gave me, you know, instructions.
Sure. Yeah.
And a sort of mold to work with. And I listened to it, and I was listening to Miles Davis and looking through my lyric ideas and thinking about lyric ideas, and then listening to the song that he had sent me and trying to sing my lyrical ideas, just whatever first came to me over the form, you know?
Yeah.
And it was so fun. It was such a sweet way of writing that I've never really done before. I always put the song together from the ground up.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was cool, and I'm really excited to be in Nashville and to be around so many people where these opportunities are more accessible to do things like this that are with your peers, you know?
Yeah.
And it informs me so that when I get together with anybody else, I have tools to work with them, you know?
Certainly. Yeah. I mean, that is like a mecca of songwriters and, you know, people just getting together. I was speaking to a musician who transplanted to Nashville also, Haley Witters, and she, you know, she's down there now, and she was talking about
Sorry.
oh, it's all right.
Hi.
Come on in.
It's just for a guy. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you.
No,
And
no
by the
worries.
way, I've never seen you guys. You guys were amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing
Sorry,
fine. Doing fine.
Thanks for running it down. Sorry.
That's right. So Nashville. That's what we're talking about. You know, she was telling me these stories. Haley Witter, she was telling me these stories about just being able to sit down and meet up with this writer on this day and this writer on that day, and just go over ideas. And you know, it's that creative, you know, environment for growth. It's like all the things you need in the plays. Is that what took you to Nashville?
Totally. One of the original Flat Bellies moved there in 2009. And it was right after they had recorded their record, and they'd been playing a lot, and we'd been hanging out, playing music on their porches, you know?
Yeah.
And he moved to Nashville, and like the first week he moved there, he lived there, he's in a jam with Sam Bush and Bela Fleck, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, everybody's there, and they're all just people who are obsessed with playing music. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's like that, you know. And we have friends that have moved there or just moved there, just like we did. And then we have friends that we've known since Josh Brand moved there.
Yeah.
And it's like a whole community of people that all are obsessed with playing music. And when we're there, we like stay up to 4 a.m. every night because it's like we're all on the same schedule, and we're around people that we would hang out with all night at a festival, and now all of a sudden we're home and the festival just continues. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right in it.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta like intentionally take nights off every once in a while.
Yeah. So you actually get some sleep.
Yeah. But it's hard. It's like constant FOMO. There's always like 7 things going on that seem like they'd be super fun to do.
Yeah.
Always. And I was happy when we had that like reprieve in Ionia because nobody lived there. Was that your
Hey, how's it going?
PJ's fucking laying on this Latin shit on the drum
nice.
set. It's like, where did this man even come from? Sorry, I was interrupting you.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good,
Your name's
you're good.
Jeremy, right?
I'm Justin.
Justin. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
Okay.
Justin, Emily, Dan,
Hello?
doing the
Yes.
interview.
Yes, I want to talk to you guys about getting you on the show too sometime because you guys were
sweet.
awesome. So
You can put in the interview like, and as Lindsay tells me the story, the drummer from the Craigslist comes in playing a song.
Yeah.
You gotta take the show on the road.
it was good. It was the whole night was fantastic. I very much enjoyed tonight.
We had
It
so
was,
much fun last night too.
yeah, where were you guys last night?
Last night we were at the Loving Touch in Ferndale.
Oh, okay. I've been to
And
Ferndale one time to the Magic Bag, I think.
yeah. It was sweet.
That's a fun town. They get a lot going on down there for that little town. So yeah.
It's like Hipsterville. for
It's
Seattle.
Hipsterville, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I was in Seattle this last weekend, and it reminded me a lot of that. You know, because all over the place it's Hipsterville there. So
Yeah.
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 So at what point did you were talking about being in college and working, a day job. At what point were you like, did you make that leap, to do this? And like, this is what I'm gonna do,
So what happened was I was in college and I was human biology and Spanish, and I was working in
Really?
in evolution lab, and I worked there for like 4 years. Are you guys leaving?
Yeah, oh, we're just backing up.
Okay. Make sure you tell me before you leave.
Absolutely.
And then I was about to finish my human biology degree, and I met Josh, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do this. This is, I could just tell that the lens was refocusing,
Sure, yeah.
And so I went a year longer for a Spanish degree, because I already had enough credits to make that happen. And I kept working at this lab, and then I graduated, and I just kept working at the lab that I had been an undergrad assistant in, but as just like a lab assistant
Sure.
for like a year. And then I realized that I could make the same amount of money, which was not very much, but it was the same.
Yeah.
Just playing music,
Yeah.
or playing music and the job, or just playing the job. It's like either way, I'm dividing my time where I'm earning income. I might as well just do it all.
Yeah.
So
Do the thing
that's
you
why
love,
I've been
right?
touring like crazy
Yeah.
for so long, because we've been doing it as our job
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah. I mean, was there a moment at all was there any hesitation there, any fright with that? For creative people, I think that's one of the biggest obstacles is matching the sort of real world demands to that desire to create, because we live in a culture where creativity is not necessarily valued in that way.
Right. Well, you gotta have mentors, and it's like I learned how to learn in college and school, and you don't stop learning when you're done with school. You find the people that can mentor you in the life that you want to live, and you see what they're doing,
Yeah.
And that's, we've had great mentors. We've got Seth and May and Rachel Davis and Dominic and the whole Earthwork community. And so I saw that it was doable.
Yeah.
And talk, I remember talking with Jen Stiggett and my friend Becky, and them talking about taxes and keeping track of receipts and all this. And you learn from experience what needs to be done in order to make it a machine that functions smoothly. You know? And we're always learning. Oh my goodness, never stops the learning. There's so much to learn, and we're always trying to make the system better and more efficient and be like a commune, but on a more abstract level, you know? Trying to be cooperative and make it work.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, and then you mentioned Earthworks in particular. Do you know Dave Dale of Elephant Rescue?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I'm not sure his exact affiliation with Earthworks, but he's from where I live in Niles.
Mm-hmm.
And he's referenced it a couple of times to me, and we've had these conversations about, in particular, this idea of, you know, sort of the growth of creative scene or a culture. In particular, we're talking about where we live, where there's sort of a vibrancy right now, and how the thing to make that succeed is for people to work, you know, together and to mentor each other and to share those, as opposed to being sort of in that mindset of, I'm gonna, you know, get my thing and eject and go, you know. So yeah, and he references Earthworks constantly, you know, as far as that ideal.
Yeah.
So.
Ah.
Yeah, I mean, what is Earthworks exactly? Is it just?
It's just artists that are, you know, we like all take part in this festival, and we all are on the same email, you know, listserv, and we take part in certain events, and we're made aware of certain events that are taking place, and we sometimes go into schools, whoever can make it. Sometimes we do a tour of all the Earthwork artists that can make it. And it's just collaboration, cooperation, you know, and banding together in our ideals, you know.
Yeah.
That we all want the same thing, and the mission statement is, you know, to basically believing in positive change through cooperation, and how music can be that. And how helping each other and promoting new music and new bands can be that. Can be an agent of positive change.
Do you think the industry has changed, especially in the age of the internet, to allow more of that to grow?
Mm-hmm. Not just positive change. I'm sorry, I was still stuck in that other thought.
No,
but maintaining the things that are important too, maintaining the traditions that are important, knowing what to keep and what needs to evolve. But what was the second question? Sorry.
Well, just, I mean, you know, going along with that, because, you know, if you think of the music industry of decades past, you know,
it's totally different.
Yeah,
it's totally different.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to. There's still record labels, and there's still it's still a lot of the same stuff is happening, but the game is so different. It's like localized, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You've got local bands that are regionally successful, and that's probably always been the case too. But it's all DIY, you know. So. There's not like someone in an office saying how they think things should change based on the market. There is someone doing that, but at the same time, there's all this other thing happening of it just being a reflection of the human condition. And that's probably always been happening too. I don't know, it's hard to say what's the same and what's different. It seems very different.
Yeah.
Well, when you break it down, it's probably the same in a lot of ways, like everything else.
I mean, I think you hit it with sort of the DIY thing. I think that is the thing that has really changed, because people now have the tools, the information, and the ability to connect at hand, where before it seemed like there was a gatekeeper. You know, the gatekeeper was that person in that office. You know, if you wanted to have anyone hear your music, it was you had to get through that person.
Yeah.
You know.
Now the gatekeeper is ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's the lesson, you know. Music is such a huge lesson. Yeah.
I mean, that is it harder? Do you think? You know, I mean, you have more access, but is it more work for you as a musician as well?
Yeah, I think so. We work our asses off.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's good. We're creating it. We're doing what actually everybody's doing, but consciously. Just creating our own reality.
Yeah. Yeah. And are you finding? I mean, are you connecting directly with fans via the internet? Is that sort of the method in which you are growing your audience?
Yeah. We just keep, Norman Blake is quoted saying that he always just focused on the music and let that be the thing that carried him, And that's, being aware of that is super important.
I got you, fuckers. Shut up. Here's what's going on.
Come on in. Join
No, I was just kidding.
Join
Join the
in.
party.
Join in.
Ask this question again to Mark and see what Mark says.
Oh, all right.
Fucking A.
So Mark has joined the show.
Yeah.
Welcome. So we were just talking about sort of in the age of the internet, the changes for you as the artist, having more access to the fans directly. That gatekeeper so much to get out there. So I mean, how do you feel about that as far as the industry now is concerned? As far as you guys succeeding as artists?
I think it's a huge tool. Like maximizing your exposure on the internet. I mean, if you think about it just from the frame of like exposure, you play a show, and the shows are how we subsist. It's how we make our money, how we get the music to the people. And you hope that people come out. And you gotta put all this time into publicizing the shows and doing the online work and just kind of doing what you do and having the natural organic trickle down effect kind of come into play. But even still, even if you pack the house tonight, I think the capacity is like 400 people. So that's your max.
Sure, yeah.
400 people. But the internet has everybody in the world.
Yeah, everybody everywhere.
How do you utilize that? I think it's a really intriguing area of this industry, especially for us. Because we're like making a living and we're paying our bills, but we're not really saving much money.
Sure.
And so we're still kind of restricted financially. Not all that bad. But it'd be nice if we, bumping up our earnings to
Lower middle class.
Yeah, lower
Lower middle class.
Lower middle class would be nice.
Yeah.
Be positive change.
I just had this idea that I wanted to say.
Tagging out.
So we were talking about, I keep getting distracted, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
But we're talking about having more access directly to the people and how that changes things. And I was just in there and I had this thought that, so we have a booking agent and we work with a publicist when we release a record and we work with graphic designers and we have people who are our agents, but even so, we still have to work our butts off to be our own agent. And I think that what the previous music industry taught the new music industry is the importance of that, of being your own agent and not being taken advantage of and not, maintaining your integrity and your vision, and your life, making sure that your life is your own still all the time,
Yeah, well, I think that was the difference.
Always impossible, but.
Well, that's always the struggle, right? I mean,
Right.
that's the fight. That's humanity, right?
Right.
That's the human condition.
Yes.
But I think that previous style of the previous music industry, you didn't have that control. You had less control over that definition of yourself. You were answering to someone other than yourself in so many different aspects.
Yeah, it does seem like that's the word on the street, that that's the way it was.
I guess I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
But it just seemed that way.
Yeah.
That seems to be some predominating idea and notion.
Yeah. I do feel like
it probably still is like that. But even us, even all of us, are kind of subject to that. Like we're all, thinking about what image we want to project and allowing how we feel perceived by others to influence that.
Yeah.
So So it's always happening. It's always. And what you're gonna find in this conversation with me is that circles and loops mostly.
Well, that's life, right? I mean, that's life. So.
Yeah. Nothing absolute.
No. I mean, I wish you guys a ton of success on the tour and the new album and everything. And I really appreciate you making the time to get together with me after how many times we tried this. I'm glad we finally got to connect.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, I really enjoyed the show tonight too. So,
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure. And hunt down the crane lives.
They are on my list for sure.
You have been listening to Anywhere the Needle Drops, a product of Red Chuck Productions. Be sure to keep tabs on everything going on with this show and everything else Red Chuck over at redchuckproductions.com or by following us at Red Chuck Productions on social media. Special thanks to Hero Jr. for our theme music. You can check them out, listen to their songs, and see where they're going to be over at herojrmusic.com. That's herojrmusic.com. Also, special thanks to Paul Clemson, our sound engineer and producer. And while you're at it, make sure you visit the websites and Bandcamps and shows of all of our guests. If you want local music, if you want independent music, or any kind of art, you've got to support them. So give musicians and artists your money. We will see you at the next episode. Until then, here's to life.
Would I